For the second year in a row, I decided to join the GMTK Game Jam, this time for 2025. If you do not know, the GMTK Game Jam is an absolutely massive game jam hosted by the GMTK YouTube channel run by Mark Brown. Each year there is a new theme that you have to build your game around, and last year's was built to scale, but this year's theme was loop. This idea was really hard to brainstorm because there are so many obvious ideas that I didn't want to go to, like driving around a racetrack, time loop, so many things that immediately pop into your head. So I tried to think outside of the box and came across this one as the idea that I wanted to go forward with. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do exactly like what Pokemon Rangers did. I have to put my own spin on it. So that's why I came up with it being a 3D world, and you have to use a trail to enclose enemies and then kill all the enemies inside of it. A lot of trial and error to get the collisions on this working for some reason. Actually, it's mainly just because I forgot to add a rigid body to this end part thing. But when you run into it, boom, trail resets. But now all I needed was a way to detect enemies inside of it and then kill them when you connect the end of the trail. Alright, so I have this new thing, so that way we can actually detect if there's an enemy in there, and I haven't done the enemies yet, but I realized that this is probably more important, and might as well do it now before everything gets too complicated. Basically, now these balls are going to be invisible, and they move at the same time, and then once I run into this, I'm going to freeze all the current ball segments, and then they're going to somehow detect the enemies within them. I'm still not sure about that part. I thought this was going to be simple. Well, not simple, but not that hard. I definitely didn't expect it to take 12 hours of day 2 to actually get it working. Okay, I may be exaggerating, maybe it was only more like 4, but 12 hours sounds better. It works. So this is the enemy. Now let's walk around him, create the chain around him, and then once we connect the chain, he's dead. I thought the rest of this was going to be easy, so easy. I even thought that possibly I may have been able to get it in a day before the deadline. I was very naive, for I way overestimated how long it takes to actually build out a level and do art and do everything else related to the game. Speaking of level, I decided to go for kind of like a Doom aesthetic with simple shapes, I guess, but it was also going to be medieval inside of a castle. So the little cone thing, that's a wizard tower. This is the forest over here, and that's our enemy. And then the square area is the ruins. And I plan to also add a village and a graveyard and maybe some more things, but this is going to basically be the arena where you try to survive. And here is that so-called arena finished. I really like it. I did have to shrink the size of it because I realized how big it was. I still have to do the graveyard, but that's not that bad. But when messing around, it feels really natural and fluid to be able to jump between everything, which is really important to me because I love movement in games, and if a game has good movement, I'm happy with it. It was around this stretch of time that I realized a problem. The enemies wouldn't be able to get up to the platform, and you could just sit up there and camp the enemies out, and you would never be able to die as long as you're just looping them from up top. So that's why I created this orange enemy. It shoots projectiles based on where you are and if you're inside of the radius. This makes it so it's way too difficult to actually try to stay up there because they're just shooting projectiles at you. As you can see right now, it's not entirely programmed correctly. It doesn't really aim exactly where the player is, but I'll fix that in due time. I also added one more enemy. In this case, it's an extra fast one, just to provide more pressure when you're on the ground and make being on the ground even more scary. So that way, there's really nowhere that you can be safe. This is where it all started to fall downhill, because you see, next what I had to do was make the art. And I have a history of not being that good with it. And it makes sense because this is what came out of the art. I forgot to mention, but also on day 2 I made a enemy spawning script so that way each wave is unique and it scales. The next thing that I had to do, because I put the actual art to the side, was make the environment. And this, I'm actually quite happy with how it turned out. I really enjoy this environment and I think it looks really pretty. There's the forest, and then right now I'm in the ruins, and that's the village, and then there's the graveyard. And this basically stays the same until the very end of the project, with only a few minor changes. But back to my demise for a second, because I actually made a sprite that I'm quite happy with. It's this wizard sprite right here. I created it by drawing a wizard and then adding an abnormal amount of different colors and strokes to make it seem like it has detail, even though it doesn't. But I actually quite like it, and I think it fits the vibe even more. As you can see, I also ditched the goblin wizard idea for just a normal wizard, because I'm already gonna have a goblin. I basically copy and pasted this idea into the next 2 pieces of art that I made, and I'm really happy with how the demon turned out. He's like really scary, probably would haunt my nightmares, but I really enjoyed how it came out. Now don't get me wrong, the art is still bad, it's just good for me. I still am not happy with it and wish I could have done better, but it's the best I could do, and that's what I have to roll with. After creating a pause menu and adding some upgrades, and also a main menu and a tutorial menu, the game is basically done. It took a bit of problem solving to actually get it working and uploaded to itch.io, because this is the first Unity game I've uploaded to itch.io, and it's a lot harder than Game Maker, but I loved it. I really enjoyed this game jam. Can't wait for next year, and hope I did pretty good. I'm uploading this before the ratings actually come out, so check the description and there might be ratings there depending on when you're watching this. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe because I'm trying to build out my channel and it doesn't hurt you, it just helps me. I hope everyone has a good rest of their day, and goodbye.